Are you serious, folks? Are you serious? Where'd all the coins go? Well, we got a shortage now of nickels and dimes and quarters, and where did all the coins go? And what is this all about? I mean, this has been the strangest year of ever. Stock market almost crashing from 2,900 to 1,900. Now it's back up over 2,600 and holding. And gold is surging. Silver is rising. And, unemployment is tanking. So what in the world, where'd all the coins go? Well, we're going to find out today from Colin Plume. It's with a dip in consumer spending and retailers urging customers to pay with cards instead of cash, the coronavirus pandemic, has it taken the coins out of circulation and created a shortage across the United States? By now, it's likely you've seen signs at the grocery stores asking you to pay with exact change. And the Federal Reserve has created a task force to study the problem with representatives from the U.S. Mint, Walmart, Coinstar, and the Fed's own experts and bankers. The task force is hoping to find a solution to bring back the coins into the community. Or is there another agenda, maybe to eliminate coins and just round up to the nearest dollar? Is that where we're going? Well, let's find out. Let's ask Colin Plume. He's with us today from www.noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Colin, great to have you today.
Yes, Pastor Paul, thank you. And I can tell you what happened to all those coins. Last year, I emptied my pool, and I've been hoarding coins, pennies, I have them all here for a premium, and I'm talking to the U.S. Mint about selling them back at, a 4,000% increase from what I paid for them. No, it is interesting. I think it's a combination of a number of things why we're going to a cashless society. My big underlying reason is the more you get money out of people's hands, it's on a digit or it's on a card, the less they think about it. I mean, going to Las Vegas or Atlantic City is a great example. You get those chips, it doesn't feel like anything. I mean, credit cards sort of feel the same way too. And once you move cash out of society, it's easy to round up numbers, which is sort of what you implied. It's easy to hide taxes. The other factor is that it's expensive to mint coins. That's what people don't realize. Pennies cost a few cents to make, so why would they make them? It's a losing proposition. Nickels are very costly to make, and we had multiple months of shutdowns where we weren't minting coins. So there obviously is a backlog. And that's why people have not been able to get change across the country. I know people that are driving across the country in an RV, and every gas station says exact change or card. And I think it's just a combination of a number of reasons. I think the less people are holding money or they're thinking about it, it loses a lot of its value, and that's not a good thing. I don't think that's a good thing for people to not think about their money. But do I think in the next 5 years we could go away from bills and quarters and things like that? Absolutely, I think it could happen.
Yeah, one of the reports that I was getting was that coins would be a lot less. It's more expensive to make coins than what they're really worth, and that'd be a great way to end that. And then they could also, the discussion is because of hyperinflation fears. They could round up to the dollar, and then one of the reports I got was, and then the next phase would be to get rid of the ones and fives, and then just roll up to 10. Everything's $10 or more because of concern that we're going to a hyperinflation. Is there, and that concerns me, because if you're $10 or more, I mean, you're really starting to weaken the dollar if we go there, aren't we?
Absolutely. I mean, and we're already there. I mean, the concern about hyperinflation, you don't need to be concerned because it's already happened. We're in that phase right now, and I can tell you the stock market is the perfect example. How could the stock market be still very close to its all-time highs when we have the same type of unemployment that we've seen since the Great Depression? I mean, how can companies be so strong when no one's working? Most of the wealth is held in very few hands. So, and I think that's not a recipe for success for any country. So for people to say we're worried about hyperinflation, that it's going to come later, it's already here. I mean, the stock market doesn't make any sense if you look at it compared to the economy. Nothing's correlating, but when you have the availability of cheap money, we've become in this cycle where you can just borrow money so cheaply that, in my opinion, the cost of goods is going to continue to skyrocket. We've already seen it in food. I just saw a report this morning that home prices are going up. How can home prices be going up? The only way home prices are going up is because the dollar is losing so much value that nobody cares what it's worth. The dollar has no value. None of these things are correlating to any kind of value. So I think, where we're going with money, no fiat money doesn't work. You back dollars by nothing and you get into a situation that we're in. The government is just going to continue to bail us out by putting more money out there, more stimulus. There's going to be another stimulus at the end of this month. It's going to happen in the next week. And I know it's going to happen at the end of this week because Congress goes on vacation on August 2nd, and they are not going to miss their vacation, Pastor Paul.
No, they're not going to miss their vacation, and they don't dare go on vacation and not give people a stimulus check as they leave. I mean, if they did that, I mean, they might burn the Capitol down. I mean, that's kind of the mentality right now. So you're right that they're going to do one. I don't know if they're going to still do another additional PPP for the businesses. Kyle, I'll be honest with you. I'm driving around in West Lafayette, Indiana now, and I'm watching restaurant after restaurant close. Hair salon close. Nail salons close. There's not one Chinese restaurant left in West Lafayette, Indiana, or Lafayette, Indiana. That's 178,000 people. There's none left, okay? Yeah. So, when you see this many people laid off, all the waiters, waitresses, cooks, and this has a ripple effect across the economy, how in the world can we have housing prices going up? Other than the fact, have they stopped lending, and now the population has nowhere to live, and that's causing the rent and the homes to go up, but people aren't working. So how's this work?
Yeah, I don't know. I know that the banks, my bank's calling me and telling me to refinance, and lending, offering me more money to borrow against the business, and this is the economy that we're in. It's just we're just borrowing and kicking the can down the street, and just more and more debt as a society, and yeah, I mean, I think you look at why investors, people are looking at their money, why they're okay with the stock market, because they look at it and they say, oh, well, it's still pretty close to that number that I remember pretty recently. But I think that the collapse that we saw in 2008 that happened, in my opinion, it was a pretty quick collapse. I think this one is going to be much longer. And I think most of the reports that I'm reading globally believe that this recession or depression, depending on how you look at it, is going to blow right through 2021 and take us at least to the first quarter of 2022. So, I tell people that you should, if you're going to stay in equities, you should be mentally prepared. And what I mean is, if your portfolio goes from 100,000 to 50,000 or 60,000, you should know that that's not unlikely in this scenario, because that same situation happened in 2008. And to be honest, a lot of the factors that are happening today are much, much worse in terms of the economy. So you just have to be prepared. So either you're ready to stomach that pullback, or you look at other options. And I think that's why gold and silver have been really popular right now, because people see it as a safe haven. And they know that loose monetary system, which is what we're in, loose money that's happening all over the globe, is devastating to economies. It's devastating to currencies. And so gold and silver make a lot of sense in today's economy.
Folks, we got Colin Plume with us. Colin Plume is at noblegoldinvestments.com. Now, if you pick up the phone and call them to get some really strong financial advice, they can help you at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. And I tell you, Colin, I'm going to ask you, I mean, gold and silver is soaring. Gold at $1,884 an ounce. As you told me before we came on the air, the all-time high for gold is $1,906. This thing's going to pass it, and silver's up at over $22.80 an ounce. I mean, just a few weeks ago, wasn't long ago, it was $15 an ounce. So we're watching a surge big time in the precious metals. And whenever whenever fiat money gets loosey-goosey, precious metals go up. And this is one constant throughout in the Bible, even from history. It is the longest monetary system known to man. And Bitcoin is even holding steady around $9,500, $9,600. Bitcoin's another option. But let me ask you a question, because if the goal is to take people into a cashless society, is it time for people to roll some of this money from their 401k into an IRA? Is that better for them because they can get some more control on their funds? Because I tell you, this stock market, in my opinion, could take another $4,000 point hit. What's your opinion on that?
Whatever you do with the money, in my opinion, going into a self-directed IRA is the best choice, regardless of anything. And I'll tell you why. In a 401k, there are maybe 1% of the 401ks that you could do this in this scenario. Buy Tesla stock, for instance, or buy Ford stock, or buy every 401k. 99% of the 401ks, you can only buy funds. You can't buy particular stocks. And a lot of the funds that are put into these accounts have very heavy fees. They can range anywhere from 1% to 3% a year. So a lot of that return that people were anticipating with the pull up of the stock market, they haven't really seen, because they're in these funds that already have big fees, but also they don't allow you to potentially see a Tesla. And the reason I bring up Tesla is because it has to do with precious metals. Everyone's talking about Elon Musk, passing Warren Buffett in terms of net worth, $70 billion, and talk about the industries he's in Tesla, and you have his, space companies, and then you have his solar companies. Well, guess what? All of the companies that he's around, they have one thing in common. They all use silver. Every one of those companies, electric vehicles use a lot of silver. And I'll tell you this is interesting. Silver being so affordable helped Tesla grow, because the price they were able to buy silver at for the electronic vehicles helped them with their bottom line and helped him get to that number where he's at. And I'll tell you, it's going to get more expensive for him, but it won't matter, because by 2030, 50% of all the cars on the road will be electric. So if you think that silver if the surge is going to slow down, think about that use. Think about that silver use. Think about solar panels. All new construction, apartments, homes, office buildings in California are required to have solar panels. I mean, electric energy, electrification is where everything is going, and they need silver. So this bump in silver should have happened a long time ago. It's just that the loose monetary policy is really what surged it recently. But the demand on the industrial side should have pushed the price a long time ago, even well beyond where we are sitting today.
This is huge, that every new home is required to have solar panels on the roof. And I think...
Yeah, and that California is known for setting the sort of the statute for the rest of the country. A lot of the laws, real estate laws in the whole country are set by California. So I believe this will be something that eventually a lot of the states will take on. And, it comes down to this, right? It's cheaper. In the long run, it saves us money. It saves the country money. So at the end of the day, if we're moving in this direction, this is going to put us in a better position to be be more independent, right? And this is something that President Trump is really focused on, is becoming more independent here in the U.S., and going electric really fulfills some of that ability for us to do it.
It really does. It means then that we don't have to depend at all on foreign oil. Texas is already right now the number one producing of oil in the world. Texas is number one. So Texas, along with Alaska and maybe some up in the Dakotas, we can produce enough oil for ourselves, along with the solar panels, which require silver, but we can take care of it. We can be self-sufficient. We don't need to. It doesn't matter what the Libyans are doing or what's going on in Saudi Arabia. And that's a game changer for the geopolitical side of things, to not have to be caught up in all these foreign wars and fighting over the oil. And I think that you're onto something. And Trump knows that and is trying to position America to be stronger, America first. Use the resources that God's given this great land. Now, so
100%. And I think we're, obviously we're 3 months away from this election. I mean, there is a lot that can change the way things are happening depending on where the election goes. And that's not good for stability in terms of investments either. I mean, that's really cause for a lot of concern for a lot of people. So, I think, I tell people that are, okay to stay where they're at, they're not looking at other options. Make sure you take your Tums, because, there's going to be a lot of turmoil there. There's going to be a lot of rocky roads ahead. But some people are okay with that. Some people can take it and they don't care. They're looking to 30 years down the road. But I think if you can see an opportunity and make an opportunity and take some profit, maybe out of equities now, and get into metals and go on the surge, because typically the run in gold is typically 5 to 7 years minimum. The last bull run was from 2001 to 2011, so that was a 10-year run. Really, gold just started to move again about 18 months ago. So we're really at the beginning. Silver really just started moving, about 4 or 5 months ago. So we're at the beginning of the bull run with silver. So I think there's a lot of room to run with a lot of these metals, and that's why with what's happening this month, that's why I wanted to give people a little push with that 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin. Number one, that's one of my favorite coins. And I wanted to give some people a push that sort of been on the fence. If you do a qualified IRA this month, then you're basically going to get that beautiful coin, that 5-ounce coin, for free.
Folks, this is amazing. I'm holding the 5-ounce silver coin right now in my hand. You can see it is spectacular. It is a beautiful coin, America the Beautiful. And if you'll pick up the phone and call 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. And you can talk to Colin or one of his associates there and begin to talk about how to create an IRA. If you qualify for an IRA, you'll be able to get this beautiful 5 ounces silver, beautiful collectors. And this is getting more rare all the time, I take it, Colin.
Yeah, they only make 30,000 of each one. So on the one side you have a quarter, on the other side you have a national park. They only make 30,000 of each national park, which is a very small amount when you're talking about a U.S. minted coin. So it does have some numismatic value. That right now, this morning, it listed on the U.S. Mint website for $179. So you're getting that coin for free. That coin 3 months ago was on the U.S. Mint website for $154. Just to give you an idea of the surge. And I don't even know if they really have them. Luckily, we've been able to source a good amount of those, and I've always bought those. And I even at one point had to pull some out of my own stash to send to people because we had such big demand, which I wasn't happy about, but I did it because that's what you got to do sometimes. But I really enjoy that coin, and to get 5 ounces. 20 years from now, in my opinion, that coin's sitting well over $1,000. I think people will be shocked at where that coin's going to run over the next 15, 20 years.
Folks, again, Colin Plume was with us from noblegoldinvestments.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestments.com, and they really can help you set up that IRA, diversify. Okay, your 401k situation. Get in control of your own destiny here and invest in some precious metals. Let me ask you a question, Colin. We're also, besides a coin shortage, we're running into a missing ATM machines. So a lot of people are saying the ATM machines are being taken out of some of the convenience stores. They're no longer even on the outside of banks. Is it because they're fearful of a run on cash? Or is this just a slow, progressive move to move us into this cashless society?
It's not a fear of the run on cash. It is the run on cash. I go to the bank once a month to handle finances. I think in the last 2 or 3 times I've gone to the bank, almost all the ATMs in the bank I went to had no cash. I can tell you that the banks do not have enough cash. And it's interesting because, a lot of people are going on with COVID. Initially, they thought, cash could, the virus could be on. There was a lot of people weren't accepting even cash. People didn't want to touch cash, but now, some of those fears have sort of dissipated. But ultimately, it's interesting because, are people going to be tied to the banks with these cards? Because that's really what it comes down to. All the cards we have are tied to a credit card or tied to your ATM. So now, guess what? We're in another way, we are tied to the banks and they're in control of our finances, which is really, really scary.
And you know something, Colin, in this era of what's called being cancellations, if they don't like your political position or if, or something or another, it seems like with the protesting getting more and more intense, the era of cancellation. And if all of a sudden the 6 major banks decide, okay, we're not doing business with you anymore. I mean, to me, I don't think the banks or credit card companies should have the right to withhold opportunity for people. It's sort of like you can't shut people's power off if they're paying their bills. People have a right to have water and electricity. It's a utility. Yeah. Shouldn't banks also be a utility? And shouldn't free speech be a utility?
100%. And I think, think about like 10 years ago with the marijuana industry. None of those companies that, whatever your beliefs are on that, I think most people believe that people should be able to transact business. I know some people are against it, but a lot of people are sort of seeing the benefits of those businesses. But the big picture was 10 years ago, if we were in a cashless society, that industry does not open because there was no bank that would be okay with marijuana companies. Everybody was dealing in cash. I know people that had friends in the industry and they would have to have, armored guards galore because, they'd have a business and they could only accept cash. And I know those things have changed now, but it's because of the stigma of that industry, people had to pay with cash. So that industry never comes about unless people are able to use cash. And I think you're 100% right. The banks do dictate what kind of businesses can even open or can even get an account. And I think that's scary that they have the ability, because now, banks are accepting them and they feel comfortable there. And now everything's changed, but they would have never had this opportunity if we didn't have any kind of cash to pay for it.
Yes, folks, again, Colin Plume is all over the issue here. Where did all the coins go? Where are they going? And is this all part of a deal? I mean, it's kind of weird that you're having a citizen containment. We can't go to the ball game. I was watching the Miami Heat play Sacramento Kings last night in an exhibition game. And over in the bubble, they call it in Disney World, which is almost closed, and there's no fans. Okay, so there's this huge screens and they put in fake fans. Okay, and I'm like, whoa, where are we going? Everything is disappearing, including the cash. I mean, it's getting crazy, isn't it, Colin?
Yeah, no, I didn't watch that game, but I've been watching some of the MLS soccer, and there's no fans there either. And in soccer, you're lucky if you get 1 goal, 2 goals a game. And, so basically most of it, they're just kicking it back and forth. And then when they get a goal, they're so tired that they're not even really cheering. That's the one thing that's interesting. I was talking to my wife about basketball. Like, so much of the NBA basketball is they shoot a 3-pointer and then they do a dance. They do their special hand. All that's sort of gone because there's no one to do a dance for. All that excitement is sort of gone. So hopefully we get back to some normalcy in the near future. But in the meantime, even just being able to watch these great athletes without fans is for me, at least I get some glimpse of normality.
Yeah, it's strange what's going on. And of course now, I know out there in California where you're at, can we sing in the choir? I'm not sure you can sing anymore. Toronto, you can't take communion. The churches are half open, half closed. Prayers even becoming discouraged. It's kind of crazy what's going on. But one thing is consistent: gold and silver throughout the Bible. It stays consistently important, and it will even right to the end, according to the Bible. So check it out, guys. You want to go to www.noblegoldinvestments.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestments.com. Pick up the phone. I'm holding this 5-ounce beautiful silver coin right here. Pick up the phone and call Colin Plume or one of his associates over there and talk about an IRA. I think it's time to diversify. You can't just stay with the same system because it's changing rapidly. So you need something that's tangible. I think you need, in this intangible world, you need something tangible to hang on to that's got some value, right, Colin?
Or don't call so I can keep those silver coins for myself, which also I wouldn't be opposed to either. I tell you, one of the real joys of this business is when people get their coins. I really, and anytime if anyone's watching, they want to send me a video of them, I'll keep it private. I love when people get their inventory, they get their coins. So it's a real joy to be able to get something, as you said, something tangible in an intangible sort of society. It brings us a lot of joy. And I think everyone at the company really feels that way. So thanks a lot, Pastor Paul. We appreciate it.
All right. You're doing a great job, and we appreciate everything you guys are doing out there. You're helping people in this very volatile world. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Again, noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. You can call them at 877-646-5347. And we'll talk to you again next time. Tonight, of course, I'll be live at 9:45 p.m. with Mike from around the world. I'll see you tonight.